Australians once championed the small car before we went SUV mad, but the segment is still hotly contested, and it's these two, the Hyundai i30 and the Toyota Corolla, leading the sales race. The i30 recently received a midlife update, but we want to see if it has the enduring appeal to sink a heavyweight like the Corolla. So we've gathered the top variants from both model ranges to reveal what's best, so stick around to see where we drop our cash. Let's start off with the Hyundai and the new i30, and we know what you're thinking. Where's the facelift? When Hyundai dropped diesel engines from the range, the i30 also scored a new face, including a new bumper, different headlights, and a fresh set of wheels across the board. However, if your i30 is actually an N-line, like this one, production limitations means it missed out on the new face and carries over the old one. Being an N-line, this is a half regular i30, half performance i30, and it has some stuff on the outside to show that. As you can see, it has this black apron in the front bumper, it has a black surround in the headlights, it gets special wheels that hide bigger brakes, an N-line badge, and gloss black side mirrors. Up back, it's much the same. As you can see, there's black treatment in the rear bumper, there's a fake diffuser, and a dual tip exhaust system that doesn't have the adjustability of the full fat N version. On the inside, N-lines get these sport seats and red, lots of red. As you can see, it's on the accents, the stitching, and around the vents. There's also leather on the seats, gear knob, and steering wheel. But the good news is, it gets the same updated interior as the regular i30 with this Supervision cluster, but there isn't much super about it besides it changing color with the drive mode, and the digital speedo readout is a little larger. Overall, it's pretty roomy up front. These seats offer good lateral support, but it could do with a little bit more under thigh. Steering wheels, leather goes a long way to lifting the cabin ambience, and it's really cool that you can access systems like the infotainment through its controls. There's also a lot of storage space, and the gear lever is idiot-proof. It's spacious in the back, and the boot is massive, even with a spare wheel. But all this time on, and it's starting to look a bit familiar on the inside and the outside. The N-line's mechanical recipe is much like before. It gets a 1.6 litre turbocharged inline-4 petrol engine, and up back it uses a multi-link rear suspension setup to differentiate it from the regular i30s. And where it comes alive is on the road. It gets 150 kilowatts and 265 Newton meters, and you can really feel it when you put your foot down. All that extra grunt equals stronger acceleration, and while Hyundai doesn't claim any performance times, it's almost into hot hatch territory for grunt and response. Our car comes with the optional 7-speed automatic dual clutch, which adds $2,000 to the price. And it's a good one. It shifts cleanly, obediently, and it's good at low speed, and it comes with these paddles mounted on the steering wheel, which are handy when you're having a crack. When you are having a crack, the heavy steering starts to make sense because it has all this grip that it can turn in quickly, and it responds to everything that you want it to do. This also means the car has a firm ride and you can feel everything underneath you, but it's never over the top, and you could definitely drive this thing every day. Out on the highway, the wider performance tyres make a bit of noise, but the safety systems work well. The active cruise control intervenes smoothly and progressively. But as something designed to water down the Hyundai i30N into a more accessible package, the i30 N-line nails its brief. And at $31,420 for something that delivers good back-road fun, rival-thumping grunt, and genuine everyday road manners, it goes to show the depth within the new i30 range. The Corolla launched an all-new generation in 2018, but it still looks like it's coming out next year. Toyota offers a sedan version, but it's the hatch body style that really nails the new generation look. It's just so striking, with a bunch of angles and creases making it seem aggressive and, dare we say it, even sporty. We'll get to why that's important later, but our range-topping ZR variant, priced at $32,695, also scores a set of fog lights and 18-inch wheels to stake its claim as the more stylish looking. A running update in 2019 added smartphone mirroring across the Corolla range, while upper grade variants scored low speed parking brake support so they could automatically stop when they detect objects behind the car. Both cars score a reversing camera, LED head and taillights, active cruise control, an 8-inch multimedia screen and a 7-inch digital LCD screen in the driving cluster. Whereas in the Toyota, it's failed to capture the potential of the screens with both the central and the driver's display using basic style fonts and graphics, whereas the Hyundai's is far more concise and aesthetic. I found the infotainment system in either car clunky and unintuitive, and I bet most people with an Android or Apple phone will prefer to use the smartphone mirroring. Using wireless Apple CarPlay in the Hyundai might make you feel like you're finally unplugged, but the truth is it often drops out, and that's not unique to this brand, but it is a bugbear in this sort of technology. But the Corolla's cabin has more going for it than just some fancy new screens. This stack is the centerpiece in a minimalist design which feels more upmarket and premium than the Hyundai's. For instance, you have these soft touch plastics and everything's laid out within reach. There are some downsides. The gear lever boot feels cheap and nasty, and it's hard to discern at a glance when you're driving what each of these buttons do since they're lined in a row and they all look identical. Otherwise, it's loaded with a lot of standard kit. It gets seat warmers, wireless charging and a heads-up display, while the driver's seat can also be adjusted with power. One question the Hyundai asked of the Corolla is why its boot is so small. Inside there's 217 litres of cargo space versus 395 in the Hyundai. And yet they both have a space-saver spare wheel and use multi-link rear suspension. Unlike Hyundai, Toyota hasn't singled out any Corolla in the range for a special suspension tune or a turbocharged engine, so this ZR gets a 2-litre Atmo engine and a CVT transmission. The CVT isn't actually that bad. It's smoother off the line compared to the Hyundai thanks to a conventional first gear, and it's obedient enough when plucking the paddles. The Corolla's Atmo engine with 125 kilowatts and 200 newton meters is no match for the Hyundai's turbocharged might, and it sounds a little coarser, but it's also eager and zingy and loves to rev to its lofty redline. On the ZR's larger 18s, the ride is firm, but it's also surprisingly taut in the handling states. It's responsive at turn-in, and it generates a good amount of grip from relatively modest rubber. As ownership prospects, both cars offer a 5-year unlimited kilometer warranty with cap price servicing. And tallying their scores on individual criteria can't split them either, with both offering their individual strengths and weaknesses. For instance, the Hyundai, it has more performance, space, and it's slightly cheaper. Whereas with the Corolla, it's better looking, it's a nicer place to sit, and it has more features. For us, we think the Hyundai's performance and practicality are just too hard to ignore, and that's where we drop our cash.